Hello and welcome everyone, Stormy Sensei here. Tonight is story night. We're going to be playing through some Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Let's see what we've got in chat here. We've got Emailer, Demon, Pie, and Skillies. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, so I'm making it to Master Rank in Pokemon Unite. Thank you. It actually ended up being accidentally inconvenient because my brother, so normally every Sunday my brother and I play City of Heroes. Occasionally we play Unite. And this week he wanted to play Unite and he wanted to grind ranked, but unfortunately he, what's it called? He was an expert 5. So he had to win a game before we could get started on our session. But it worked out because he only played one game and he won it. And then he got into veteran. And then I think we went 2-2 today. This is not bad. How's my Valentine's dinner? Well, we ended up canceling our reservations because we didn't really feel like going to sit at the restaurant, but we still ordered takeout from the same restaurant that we were going to go to, and I just brought it home and sat on the couch and watched what did we watch? Murderville? No, that was earlier today. We watched Dollface, which is a Hulu series, while eating dinner. Very enjoyable. Need 3 wins to get veteran? Nice. Good luck on that. Where was I supposed to be doing? Oh yeah, stop Team Galactic at Mount Coronet's Summit. I did see the Mount Doctor Strange trailer twice. Looking forward to watching that movie. Still haven't decided whether I'll see it in theaters or not. Probably we will, but we'll probably choose like some really weird time of day to do it. You know, like really early Saturday morning or something like that. I'm surprised you didn't watch the Super Bowl. You're really surprised that I didn't watch the Super Bowl? Really? Have I ever shown any sort of like knowledge or interest in sports on the channel? Or I give off that vibe? It would be very surprising if I did. I honestly didn't even know that the Super Bowl was today, and I also didn't know who was playing in it until I saw a YouTube poll in someone's community post about it. You actively don't give off the sports vibe. My favorite joke about that is like, it's important to me that you know that I don't care about sports. I'm not that bad about it, but I definitely don't have any interest in it. That's a good line. There are some people that are actually like that. Like, it's one thing to like not be interested in something, and it's another thing not be interested in something that like everyone else is usually interested in. But like to go out of your way to show off how much you don't care about this thing that everyone else cares about is kind of its own form of rudeness. There's nothing else here. Am I early enough to actually fight the people in the restaurant? Let me try to do that real quick. It might be too late. They might close at 10 or something like that. do I have time for this? I don't have time for this. Am I even in the right area? I am. I'd love to help you with your homework, as long as it doesn't involve just giving you the answers. Don't have work figuring out what to do. You grind unite. Really? I didn't even move. I didn't even move a square. Am I playing Final Fantasy VIII? I mean, even in Final Fantasy games, you get at least 2 squares before you can get into a random encounter. Nice. Oh, they are so weak. Oh, this was a mistake. Oh, that's right, I'm actually faster now. I saw you on Trilogy stream. Hey there, Katie. You're really killing it with your Isabel there. I think you could have actually made that comeback against the DVD at the end if you did like 2 forward airs and a Gordo instead of 3 forward airs, and then he was like too far away. Poor Bidoof, yeah, pretty much. Should we do the rest of these? There's not really a point. Like, I'm not getting experience points, really. I think I'm gonna leave the rest of these people alone. It's not worth it. For whatever reason, I remember when I played this game like earlier that these people scaled with you with the number of badges you had, or maybe they get stronger when you beat an Elite Four or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but I don't remember them being that weak like all the time. Obviously they're that weak the first time you fight them. Would have been risky. I mean, you already went pretty risky because you did 3 forward airs and a Gordo that missed, and then he killed you for it. I mean, the correct answer was to do the 2 forward airs or 3 forward airs and then just recover, and then, you know, outplay him a couple more times on stage. That's what a top player would do in that scenario. But given that you're trying to get the 0 to death, you know, that was the better way to try to go about it. So the issue is I don't actually know, speaking to Pi here, I don't actually know what gender Tips is. Like, it's either Guter, it's probably Guter Tips for me. wonder what's in this grass. I mean, I've discovered all the Pokemon that I can, so it doesn't really matter. Welcome there, Smiley. How are you doing tonight? The title technically says story session, but usually we spend like a good 30 minutes picking berries every stream. It's plural. Give me all of the adjective endings, by the way. It has been a number of years. I'm gonna stick with Gooder. Should there be another role in Unite? Like what? Like they already have, you know, 5 characters and 5 roles. Let's see how well I would do in German 2 at Pi School after... When was the last time I took German? Sophomore year of college. So 12 years. This is my last German class. When am I going to start streaming Legends Arceus? I actually have a minor announcement about that. As you all know, I went to my local Best Buy a couple of times in order to buy Legends Arceus, and they were sold out. So I wasn't able to buy it. But Mrs. Stormy actually informed me that she actually ordered the game, and it should be delivered like on Tuesday or something like that. So I'll be owning it pretty soon. But I probably won't be streaming it for a while, because after this game we're going to be playing Triangle Strategy, and that's going to carry us for quite a while. Maybe once we're like deep into Triangle Strategy, I'll also do Arceus on the side as well. Well, you're the active student. It's more likely to be Guden than Gooder. The only ER ending is masculine nominative, when EN is dative plural. Yeah, there's so much structure to the German language. It's pretty nice, but unfortunately the pronouns are all, what's it called? The pronouns are all arbitrary. So like the only way to really learn the language is by immersion. You just gotta like figure it out as you go through your life. Really? Triangle Strategy? They did not put much effort into naming the game. Well, so in the game world, the name is one of the last things that you do, usually. So I don't know if you're familiar with the game series called Fable. When that was being developed, they called it Project Ego. Because like most of the time you like have a concept for a game. Like you only know, you know, I want this to be the central gameplay mechanic. You know, and then from there you figure out all the other stuff like, you know, the characters, the setting, you know, stuff like that. So for a game like Project Ego, you know, they can name it that for years and years and years, and then eventually at the end they could be like, okay, well, we'll call it Fable, and then we're good. What they did with Octopath Traveler was, it's literally on the nose about what it is. Octopath Traveler was a game where you have 8 different characters and they're all traveling around doing their own individual missions and running into each other and crossing paths. And that's, you know, fine. But the problem came when you release it to the public and you say, hey, here's this demo, you can all play this game. And everyone's talking about Octopath Traveler, everyone's talking about Triangle Strategy. And so the game name kind of sticks sometimes. I don't know if I said hi to Pika, but hey there, Pika. Pika Squad, pretty much. I request to ask my new Pika friends if they would like to check out my channel, please. Oh, absolutely. You know, you should know, because you've been here long enough, that I totally encourage and don't have anything against self-promotion in my channels. Subscriptions are free, views are free, clicks are free, so, you know, everyone could sub to everyone, and it'd be fine. But as my bot mentioned earlier, Pika the Musician does streams all the time. He's got some content from like Elabits, I think. He does Roblox from time to time. He does Pokemon games like Let's Go Pikachu, I want to say. And did you do a Shield playthrough yet? I don't remember. Some Super Mario 64 like speedrun attempts, all sorts of content. And then he also has the system on his stream, so you know you earn Robo Coins or Robo Points on my stream, and they don't really do anything. But on Pika's channel, if you earn enough of them, you can actually request him to play a game that you want him to play. Thanks for the shout out. No problem. You know I gotta support. I feel like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl just died a month later after it came out. I don't know if that's true. I still see content in my sub box about it. But I also subscribe to a bunch of like battling channels, so like Pimp Knight or Moxie Boosted, Weedle Twineedle, things like that. So, you know, they're still putting up stuff. almost done with my bachelor's degree. Keep up the good work, Pika. When do you graduate? Alright, is this the year? Are you gonna be a summer graduate? Or are you graduating maybe second semester? Like in next January or something like that? Oh, Legends Arceus. That should be a good one for you. Usually all it takes for people to subscribe to you is just to ask them to subscribe to you. It's kind of interesting. It makes sense. Like, who's gonna say no? I mean, some people might just not subscribe to people. Like, when I watch a really popular video, or like a very popular channel where their videos constantly keep on popping up in my recommended area, then like I don't subscribe in those scenarios. Like, that's a good example. Daily overdose of Unite or Pikachu, and they just like do random clips of Unite stuff. So like, I'll watch one of those videos, but there's no need for me to subscribe because like I'm not actively looking for this stuff. But if I see it and it looks interesting, then I'll click on it, you know? Do you have any interest at all in Deltarune? Not particularly. I mean, it would have to... Undertale is on my list, and I know that everyone's like, oh, Deltarune is just Undertale 2. So, in some sense, kind of. But at the same time, not really. Because for one thing, they're releasing the episodes episodically, and as you know, I hate episodic releases. I want to play the whole game. So maybe when they're done with all the chapters, I'll be interested in the series as a whole. And maybe I'll be more interested after I get around to playing Earthbound and Undertale. I know it's not literally Undertale 2, but it actually has the approval of the actual creator of Undertale as like, oh, this is like super good, and you know, if you liked Undertale, you'll also like this. Like, it was part of the early promotion for the game. This was the last episode release, so the rest of the game would all come out at once. That's nice. And I understand that, you know, in order to be able to finance yourself to make the rest of the game, sometimes you need to release part of the game. So I'm sympathetic to the cause, but, you know, it's just not really my taste. I miss community college though. I never went personally to community college, but I did really enjoy undergrad. Like, you just meet so many great people. Might be different now because, you know, pandemic and all, but you know, just dorm life, living with your friends is like very, very different from, you know, living at home or living with your spouse or living with your parents. And the great thing about college, I suppose, is that, you know, when you are finding a roommate in the real world, it's kind of awkward because your only common interest is that you both need a place to live in a certain area. But in college, you at least have the, you know, you're around the same age, you know, you're both studying in college, so like you have a lot of stuff already in common. So and you also have a lot of free time as well because you're still in college, like, you know, you're not quite adults yet. So, you know, spend a lot of time just hanging out. It's a really nice experience. Hey there, General Jet. Welcome back to the channel. You've been coming up pretty frequently recently. Never been to a dorm yet? Well, are you in college? Dormitories are typically a thing you only get at boarding schools and, you know, universities. Welcome back every 27 years. Lots of berries, yep. Lots of berries, we have so many. I would have loved to live in a dorm. Yeah, I mean, I know that even though you didn't get to experience, I'm not going to stop talking about how wonderful it is. It is really, really nice. Like, if you have the opportunity to, and you have the privilege of being able to afford dorm living, then I definitely suggest that you take it. It is expensive, like, you know, no doubt about that. It would be cheaper for you to pick a college that's close to where your parents live and just live at home and commute. Commuting is also kind of expensive, but not as, because it's like, that's expensive over time, the gas money and the car maintenance to go back and forth. But, oh wow, Oranberry is really my lowest berry count. Also, when did I get 98 Qualot berries? That's crazy. Yeah, so it's expensive to live in a dorm, basically. But if you're already taking out a loan for tuition, yeah, take out a little more for the dorm life. If the bank is going to give you the money for it, because that's you know, experience. That's just part of life. Now I say that, and I'm still in college debt all these years later, and nowhere near to the end in sight. But I definitely don't regret it at all. Forget being a Pokemon master, you'll make bank off of the berry farm. That's the way to do it. Getting a scholarship. I mean, you're better than I am. My father tried his best to convince me to, like, apply to, like, a whole bunch of scholarships and whatnot, in hopes that I would get one of them. And I'll be honest, I was pretty lazy. I did not apply to as many as he would have liked, and I didn't get any scholarships. And I was a pretty good student. Got good test results, got good grades, got good SAT scores. Didn't really do much community service or anything like that. But, you know, I did do a bunch of other extracurriculars. I did a whole bunch of extracurricular activities. So I was a pretty model student for a college, I suppose. But unfortunately, the school that I decided to go to, you know, being a model student was commonplace, and so you don't get bonus points for being just as good as everyone else. What's the scholarship application process like? A complete nightmare, honestly. It's you just find a bunch of random websites that your school provides you, and they all have like vague application processes. Usually they want some sort of essay along with your family's financial information, and then you just kind of sit around waiting, and then some of them don't even bother responding to you at all. Most of them will reject you, and occasionally you might get some money. And so it's kind of worth if you end up getting some money, but you know, you actually have a much better chance at getting your college paid for by being really, really good at a sport. And maybe in your day and age, that actually means, you know, you could be good at an esport, and that'd be super sick, you know, if you could get on a college esports team and have that be your scholarship. My mother actually didn't have to pay for undergrad because she was there on a journalism scholarship, because she was like head of her school newspaper and had done some summer intern stuff going into the university. Ironically enough, she actually didn't become a journalism major while she was at the college, but you know, schools back then, because my mother's quite old, they didn't really like keep track of things like that, so she just like got college for free even though she didn't actually go to school for the thing that they were paying her to do. These days you probably wouldn't get away with that. I knew plenty of people that were at my school on a sports scholarship that had to like participate in the sport that they were being paid to be there for. I like to joke with my mother that I'll spend the homework time practicing Smash and bank on the esports scholarship. One thing that you might actually be able to do once you're in college is find your local and farm your locals for like eating money. Joining the military is actually a very reasonable way of paying for your college. I do also know lots of people that served for the military and then came back and the government paid for the universities that they ended up going to. My brother-in-law is one of those people. My mother was having none of that though. She was like, you know, no, whatever you do, you're not going into the military. You know, granted, you know, I was going into college around the height of, well, it wasn't the height because it lasted for so long, but you know, we were very much still in the Iraq War in 2008, and so she was very disinterested in me signing up for that. And just based on my personality, I also was not very interested in serving my country. For some people, you know, it's their life choice, and you know, it takes all kinds of people to make a country. So I'm not gonna knock it. The college I'm looking at has a big Smash scene and hosts weeklies. Nice. There's no amount of progression that matches college level progressions. Like if you want to get good at, you know, something, college is the place to do it. Because you have the most amount of agency and free time and money. Like, you don't have much money in college, but like if you had like a level of, you know, agency, basically you being responsible for what you do every day, and like money and your free time, like you spend most of your life having balances of that. Like when you're a kid, you don't have much agency and you don't have any money, but technically your parents, you know, they provide everything, so you don't need the money, but you find yourself always like wanting to have something that your parents won't pay for or something like that. So you don't have money, you don't have agency, but you have loads and loads and loads and loads of free time. And when you're an adult, you have money and you have agency until you have kids, and then you lose that as well, but you don't have any free time. But college is like that perfect middle ground where you have just enough of everything. Did I spend so much time making berries that the ones I got at the beginning are starting to sprout already? There's no way, right? Oh wait, no, there's another berry patch down here, I remember. Or it's not down here, it's actually, oh, it is actually down here. There's actually two that I need to go to. What should I do to prepare for college? I mean, there's not much you really need to do. The only things you really need to worry about are, you know, what major you might be interested in. So you need to like take a look at the course catalog and then see what things interest you as like a area of a focus. So like if you really like math, then you should take a look at all the different math courses and see if you're actually interested in math, because the stuff you take at the beginning is going to be very different from the stuff you take at the end. And then like also you need to keep in mind that the things you're able to study in college is much more broad than what you were able to study in high school. So like in high school you might just take English, right? Or you might take literature. But in college you can take like, you know, medieval language or like medieval literature works, or you can take like only postmodern, you know, this like all sorts of very specific things you can major in once you get to college. And then from there you kind of take a look at all the different courses that you have to do in order to finish out your major, and you just plan that all out. And then you take a look at how many classes you're taking per semester. Make sure you don't take too many, but also make sure that you actually take enough in order to graduate. And then sprinkle in some like interesting sounding stuff along the way as well. Because, you know, as much as I talk about, well, okay, how should I put this? The best part about college is the friends you'll make while you're there. Because, like, I don't really use any of the stuff that I actually learned in my college courses day to day. But, you know, I still communicate with the people that I hung out with. Like, they show up to weddings, they invite me to weddings, like we sometimes get on like a group Zoom call or whatever. This isn't as important for me, but like it also builds like kind of business connections as well and networking. So like a lot of the people within my own friend group have given each other business over the years. Like when they need to like change careers, or if they're looking for a new client for the place that they work at and things like that. So that's all like the really important stuff. But at the same time, if you go to college and you spend 4 years there and you spent all this money and you don't have the degree at the end to show for it, then that's really demoralizing, and it actually really sets you back a lot in life, because you have all this money that you have to pay for, but you don't have the degree that gives you the job that would allow you to pay for it. So for someone like me, like I have a whole bunch of debt, like a lot of debt. But the job that I have, it's fine. Like I spend a lot of money, I earn a lot of money every month, and I spend a lot of money on debt every month, and it's okay because I still have money left over to, you know, buy whatever food I want without worrying about it, or, you know, drive wherever I want to go, or fly if I need to fly somewhere, and it's not like a big deal. But if I had all the student debt that I have, but I didn't have a nice job to support it, then I'd be in a lot of trouble. So, you know, the most important things while you're there are the relationships, and that's what's going to have the biggest impact, assuming that your baseline success is good. But you need to also worry about that baseline success. Like, you need to make sure that you get a degree by the time you're done. So I just say, like, you know, think about what you're interested in, figure out what your major might be, and then go from there. And Pika's right, computer science is probably the best major, especially in today's climate. Like, everyone's looking to get computer science majors. Oops, I meant to do Rock Smash, actually. Hey there, Lightning. Good to see you. That is less impressive than I thought it was going to be. But Psychic is nice. I do like it. That was just a guess. I didn't actually know there was anything up here. I'm glad that I went for it. I have to do community college online. I'm going to major in journalism once I start working towards an actual degree and start college, in state college. That sounds like a wonderful plan. I think I'm going the wrong way, honestly. I need to be going south. When I think about repaying college debt, I get stressed. But I have a great job, so phew. Yeah. You just gotta, like... I don't know. Like, you just gotta be really careful with how much debt you end up taking on. Because the banks don't really have your best interest in mind. Because they'll give you a loan that you won't be able to pay back in a heartbeat. You should rename the stream Life Session. I mean, I'm just playing this game that I already enjoy playing, and if you guys want to talk about life, then that's also cool. Yeah, I'm all for it. We got some Team Galactic here. There's no way of getting to the peak from this side. Uh-oh. Was I supposed to go up from the Heart Home City side? I can't get up to the peak from Eterna? Okay, so Heart Home. Which way is that? That's this one over here, this way over here, this way? Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. I wonder why that is. Is it because of this? I think it's because of this right here. This is gonna, like, block me off somewhere. Yeah. That's a really tough major. Music performance and music education. let's go to Heart Home, like the grunt told me. Alright, we're on to the actual part of, we're actually like playing the game now. And it only took 45 minutes. Still don't have the ability to use waterfall. Do I get attacked immediately? I do. What an ambush. They call me the Echo Man. Battle with me. Yahoo! Speaking of trying to pick up everything you can, there is one option in colleges that not many people talk about or remember to do, and that's called class auditing. So I did this twice while I was in college, but you can basically just show up to a class and listen to the lecture and not do any of the work because you're not actually technically fully taking the class, so you can't get a grade for it. Not every college allows for it, but it's pretty nice when it does because then you get to learn about something that you're interested in, and you don't have to like stress about it affecting your GPA or like taking time away from your other work. Why doesn't everyone do that? They're not interested enough in learning, I guess. And then there's also like the concept of like, you know, if you wake up and you look at the time and it's like, oh no, you know, it's only 5 minutes until that class that I'm auditing. Like, are you going to actually go? You're not getting a grade for it. Like, are you going to motivate yourself to actually do it? But if there's a grade behind it, then maybe you will. I wish I could just like get rid of all of my things other than the Doppler, radar, and the hit and move thing. Because I don't really use any of the other ones. You probably don't have water absorb, right? Yeah. Seems the majors I'm interested in are the horrible ones. Yeah, that's, I mean, there's a couple ways of thinking about that, right? Because one way is, you know, the workforce is only looking for particular things. For the most part, they're only looking for computer science these days. But usually, you don't even use your major in your actual job. Like, your job just kind of teaches you what you need to know when you show up. And so you may as well learn about the things that you're interested in, or things you're passionate about, because that way you're going to do better at in the classes because you actually are interested in learning about it. Like, if you really were just looking only to maximize the amount of money that you're going to make, then you would just, everyone would just be a petroleum engineer. But that's not, like, interesting to everyone. Alright, I should be able to make it to the summit from here. One time I've quit being a soccer coach because the kids love me too much. And then the biggest brain move, if you just like don't go to college but take an apprenticeship at something like that earns a lot of money without having a degree. Like, think about, you know, really technical things like being a plumber or being an electrician or, you know, installing water heaters, or, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that you go to like trade school for that everyone needs, and very few people actually know how to do it. So you get paid a lot for doing some very surprising things that don't take a 4-year degree to do. So if you're just interested in maximizing money in an amount of time, you know, you have lots of options. But I say, you know, pursue your passions. Because as I mentioned before, you're at the time of your life where you can like actually maximize those types of things. Why? How do I get over there? I'm so careful. Maybe if I go diagonally? It looks like I should be able to do that. That's not the solution. You're in a programming position, having studied applied mathematics, so why didn't you study something more directly related to programming? I didn't know that I was going to be a programmer. I got the job basically because it was the only place that hired me, honestly. I applied to a number of places where my math would have been more prominent. And also, when I tried actually applying to a bunch of places, most of them only were interested in a computer science major. I studied math because I love math, and I was really good at it. And then I think it was my junior year of college when we had the career fair, where all the different employers came to advertise, you know, their internships and their full-time positions. I looked at the pamphlet, read through all the descriptions, and I had a short list of places that I would be interested in applying to. And I went and visited all of their areas, all of their tables. And, you know, once I got down to only the people that were interested in, or that would take, you know, just an applied math major, it was a smaller list. And of those, I took the first one that hired me, and they taught me programming. Wow, really? That person unplugged the largest outlet, the only three-pronged in the entire outlet. Do I have Bronzor? I think I do. I have Bronzor. What? I can exit already? What's over here? Oh, interesting. What's down here? Oh, just an item. And common sense tells me that you should definitely prohibit phones in school. Like, there's almost nothing that you'd be able to do on a phone that's appropriate during school hours. Like, the only thing would be taking notes, right? But, you know, presumably you've been taking notes on paper for years. Well, I'm supposed to reach the summit, so let's go this way, because that's obviously not the way you're supposed to go. see our first Team Galactic grunt that we can actually battle. We grunts have been assigned 2 noble jobs. 1, to ensure the success of our operation at the summit, and 2, to utterly destroy anyone who dares interfere. Good luck with your mission. Oh, you brought 1 Pokemon? Good luck on your... Oh, it's a beauty fly. Good luck on your mission. My teachers had a no phone sign, but the first day of the year they just let everyone use their phone the whole time. That's like setting them up for, you know, failure. Because they're definitely going to use their phones every day, because if they use it on the first day, why not let them use it on the second day, and so on. So that could be that, like, as a teacher, officially, they're supposed to not allow, they're not supposed to allow any phones, but as a person, they don't really care at all. And so they have the sign there, so in case, you know, someone comes by and inspects their classroom, they can say, oh yeah, you know, I don't allow phones in my classroom, or if someone comes in to watch the class, then they'll say, alright, no phones, because you know the rules, no phones, but yeah, they don't really care one way or the other. So when you say seen with your phone, do you mean like on the school grounds at all, or do you mean in class? Because I would imagine you would show up to school, put your phone in your locker, and then at the end of the day you would take your phone out of your locker and go home. But like, if they see you with a phone in the hallways, do they still give you detention? Oh my. This looks very epic. There it is. I thought that's what it was. Oh, I'm standing on it. That's why I couldn't see it. I like the suspenseful music as well. We don't have lockers. What? That's very weird. Like, don't you, where do you put all your textbooks throughout the day? Do students still use textbooks these days. Have I gotten that old and out of touch with the youths? Everything is carried in your bag? What? How many classes do you have per day? Oh, class sets of textbooks. Okay then. That makes more sense. Oh, there's so many entrances. I don't know which one to take. $6 to $8 per day. I was looking at you expecting a great strategy. Run away! Oh, so many things to get. Oh, actually I can't go there. Okay. That makes it easier. Yeah, so we had lockers that lined the hallways, and so you would carry basically what you needed for your next class. Well, not your next class, because sometimes the distance between the two classes would be like too great. So you basically have to like know your route, and then if you needed to pick up like 3 textbooks for your 3 classes in a row, then you would do that, and you had 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I forget exactly how much time you had between classes. I think it was 5 minutes though. Do I have Clefairy? I do. Okay. And then some of the classes would have classroom sets, but not all of them. So usually like English class in particular would have classroom sets. But usually at most you would only have spares. So like you would have your textbook, but if you forgot one then you would borrow one from the teacher, and you were shamed publicly for not having brought yours. Man, I had this really bad habit in high school where I like didn't throw away any of the papers that I got. So like if I finished a workbook, or not a workbook, but like, you know, you get a handout, you finish it, I would just like put it on top of my binder. So I'd have my binder that has all the blank sheets of clean paper, and then it would just have like a whole stack of every handout that I've ever gotten, and then on top of it, it would be whatever textbooks I needed. I think that my Meditite evolves here. I sure hope that I get healed in some kind of way. I guess I could use the Lepa Berry to store my power points. Oop, I was wrong about Meditite's evolution level. I feel like I'm going the right way. I feel like I want to turn around right now. Partial block system as well. Wednesdays and Thursdays we have classes and odd classes, even classes and odd classes for double duration. Yeah, that makes sense. I had that in middle school, I want to say. But in high school we just took 7 classes every day. Oops, that wasn't enough. Oh no, that was the way I was supposed to go. Alright, let's see what was in the other room. I need a better memory. Don't worry, it only gets worse from here on out. It's like for you, middle school and high school are all like relatively close together and not too long ago. Now imagine 10 years from now. You like meet up with old friends of yours from that era and you're like, oh, remember that person? And you're like, no? And then you have to be reminded about all the events that you had together. Let's see what this one item was that we missed out on. Oh, well, that we can't use waterfall yet, so we didn't really miss out on anything there. My memory is this. Hi, Stormy. I'm new here. Welcome, Sima. I haven't played Pokemon in over a decade. Now is the perfect time to get into it. Pokemon is having like a renaissance, basically. They just got through coming out with a new MOBA very similar to like League of Legends, called Pokemon Unite. I played a lot of that. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl got remade into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I'm currently playing right now. And then they are retelling the origins of the Sinnoh region in a new game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is like a open world game very similar to like Assassin's Creed or Breath of the Wild or something like that. And all of that within like 6 months, which is really crazy. And then even before that, they came out with, you know, the first home console Pokemon game, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which are new remakes of Gen 1, followed by Pokemon Sword and Shield, with the first DLC for the games that have ever been in Pokemon before. I have to return to Nintendo. It's a good time to do so. Nintendo's really been killing it lately. Oh no. Okay. Ooh, thank goodness. I was worried I was going to have to go back up to climb into that bush grassy patch again. ACTs and SATs, what are your experience with them? I took the SAT twice. I thought that I took it once and thought, you know, this grade is good, or this score is good enough. And my family was like, I don't think this score is good enough. I was one of the few people to take the weird SATs that are scored based off of 2400. So that tells you basically like literally exactly when I was taking these classes, because the SATs were 18 out of 1800 before, and then after I graduated they went back to 1800. Both are fine. The SATs technically, if I'm honest, favor language, and esoteric language at that, more so than anything. And ACTs tend to be a little bit more biased towards the science mathy portion. Most schools will take both, or will take either, I should say. And then I think that you should be able to choose what scores you send to what schools. I honestly also really recommend that you do some SAT prep, especially vocabulary prep, even if you're like pretty good at English, because the types of stuff that they throw at you in SAT is like very different from the English that you're going to learn normally in school. This looks like where I'm supposed to be going, I think, so I'm going to go into that one area. I did not take the ACT. SATs were very popular in Georgia, where I went to school, and ACT was more popular in Tennessee, just up north of me. My brothers took the ACT. Maybe this is where we're supposed to be going. I did find another grunt, and usually that means that this is where the progression's supposed to end up going. Like, there are actually literal SAT words that, you know, if you don't know what they are, then you just won't get as good of a score. So like if you don't know things like lugubrious and eloquacious and, you know, gregarious or sycophantic and things like that, then you probably need a study guide. And, you know, I usually hate studying specifically for a test, but like, there's no other way that you would know these things. In recent years, the SATs have kind of gotten a bad rap, and I don't want to say it's a bad rap because it's totally true, that the SATs technically really give an advantage to people that are able to afford the study guide and whatnot, and people that are like from privilege and are technically biased against or have a racial bias because of the language that they use and the things that they test you on. So I would say everyone should just give themselves as much of an advantage as they can. Where am I? What is going on here? Where is this place? Did I accidentally choose the exact place where I'm supposed to be going that I was trying to avoid? Any study tips? I mean, I cognitively know about ways that you can improve at studying. I'm a pretty fast learner personally, so I don't usually spend a lot of time studying. Like, I could tell you about like flashcards or mnemonics, or, you know, you can study certain subjects with, you know, a particular color pen, and then bring that particular pen to the test. So that, because like the way memory works is like it draws connections. So like if you always study math while you're holding a blue pen, then holding a blue pen will actually help you remember it more. Or if you always study German while listening to a particular, soundtrack that doesn't have lyrics to it, then listening to that soundtrack will remind you of the things that you studied. Repetition is pretty much the most important thing, though. You want to study the materials frequently, not so much for how long. It's not important so much how long you study, but how often you study. So, like, you want to study a little bit every day as opposed to cramming it all at the end of the study period right before the test. And then there's the Feynman technique, where you study the material, and then without referencing the material, you write up an explanation of the material, and then you try to teach someone the material as simply as possible. So I could take 2 turns and do 130 damage, or I can take 2 turns and do 180 damage. Or I could be just, I can't use only poison moves. Yeah, let's get rid of Venom Shock. And basically, when you don't understand something, or when you can't explain something well enough to someone that doesn't already know the material, then you basically go back and do it all over again. In college history, we have reading quizzes every week. I read the information to you 4 times before the test, and I usually do well. I mean, you're doing, like, that's pretty much exactly what I've been saying. You know, if you read it 2 to 4 times, that's pretty good. Like, obviously you would probably do better if you read it 14 times, you know, every day at night and then every day in the morning. It all just depends on exactly how much you're really working towards, or how important it is to you that you get it a bit right. There's so many hidden items just lying around here. They're all like really good items too. Like we've gotten a bag of Stardust, which sells for a lot of money, a max potion. You know, iron and zinc, or those things cost like 100,000, I think, to buy one bottle of those. I haven't read that. Like on either account, I haven't read that you should take notes in red, or have I read that red is the hardest color for your brain to process? Because like, red is actually like, when I think of red instinctively, you know, I think about the fact that red is more likely to stress you out because it's kind of the color of danger inherently, in a natural sense. Now it might heighten your senses because it is the color of danger, and that might cause you to pay more attention to it. I'm starting to feel more and more like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be going. I think I'm going to turn around. Hey there, Anazaro. How far am I into the game? We are practically at the end game here. We're on our way to the summit of this mountain in order to stop the big bad from summoning the mythical Pokemon and destroying the universe? I think that they're trying to destroy the universe. I kind of do want to catch this. That way I don't have to evolve Chingling. Because it evolves by friendship, and I kind of want to avoid as many of those as I can. At any point in time you want to do a critical catch, I'd be down. Oh, that you shouldn't take notes in red. I completely misread the apostrophe T in there. I can definitely imagine that you should not take notes in red. Like, I'd imagine that there's probably a good reason that blue and black pins are kind of the norm. and we only use red pin to like call out mistakes. That's so much experience points for just catching a Pokemon. Yeah, I thought so. My favorite Final Fantasy game? 6. By a long shot. But I've also been pleasantly surprised by how much I've enjoyed every Final Fantasy game that I've played on the stream so far. Because most of these games I played in very quick succession, and I didn't finish most of them when I was like a teenager. So I think 97 Final Fantasy 7 came out, 98 Final Fantasy 8 came out, 2000 I think is when Final Fantasy 9 came out. In 2001 I think was Final Fantasy 10. I think that sounds about right in my head. And so like I wasn't the one purchasing any of these games. It was my older brother. And I played a lot of them kind of all at the same time. So by the time I was interested in any RPGs at all, or not, that's not true, because like I've always been playing RPGs from the very beginning. Like Phantasy Star and 7th Saga and Pokemon, things like that. But I was born after a lot of the big RPGs were already, or not born after, but like, you know, old enough to be playing video games, because I've really started when I was like, you know, 5 or 6, something like that. So by then, you already had, you know, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6, Chrono Trigger, you know, things like that were already out and like 100% completed by my brother and things like that. So I was just kind of playing catch up and just like playing a whole bunch of them in rapid succession while also juggling all the new games that were coming out. So I actually had kind of mixed feelings about most of the 3D Final Fantasy games. Like I kind of remember playing them a little bit, and I would get to like disc 1 and finish disc 1 and then kind of put it down. And then like at some point in time my brother would like let me load up his old save file and beat the final boss with his like completely ridiculously overpowered characters. I think that the first Final Fantasy that I ever beat was Final Fantasy X. And had I beaten another one ever? Well, okay. So the first one that I beat was Final Fantasy X, and then when Final Fantasies 1 and 2 came out on the Game Boy Advance, I beat those like years and years later. Like I was about to go into college, maybe I was already in college by then. And then Final Fantasy 3 came out for the DS, and I beat that. And then Final Fantasy 5 came out for the Game Boy Advance, and I also beat that one as well. So I had already beaten 10 and 10-2. I'm not going to count 10-2, I'm going to count that as a spinoff. So like I had only ever beaten 5 of the Final Fantasy games from start to finish. And then when 13 came out, I was already an adult, like I had my own apartment and everything, and I played through that and beat that one. Was a little weird to me. It didn't have a traditional leveling system. You can break the game really easily. I feel like that's true for all the Final Fantasy games, though. Like, you got stronger in Final Fantasy 2 by using abilities. So, like, if you used up mana, then your mana pool would increase, and if you attacked, then your strength would increase, and if you got hit, your defense and your HP would increase, and things like that. And you could, you know, easily break that game by, you know, going against really weak enemies and then hitting yourself with whatever spells you wanted to level up, or, you know, things like that. Final Fantasy 5 had a job system, so you could break that game by... Oh no, this is where I'm supposed to be going, right? Why is there a grunt blocking that doorway that I'm spiraling into? So you've beaten 1, 2, 3, I haven't beaten 4. You've beaten 5, I've also beaten that. 6, I've gotten to the final boss like twice, and just haven't beaten it. Because I always do this thing where I want to have every character learn every magic spell, and so I spend a lot of time like farming in the Tower of Mana, where you're only allowed to use magic, and you only get magic points, and you don't get experience points. And then like I spend a lot of time fighting in the Coliseum and things like that, so I just spend a lot of time just not playing, like not beating that game. I've gotten to the final boss a couple of times on 6, never beaten it. 7, I got to disc 1. 8, I got to disc 1, or got through disc 1 for both 7 and 8. And 9. Of course, now as an adult and a streamer, I've beaten 8 and 9 on stream. You've beaten 10, that was the first one that I've beaten of that list. 12. I did not hardly play that at all. So that game came out while I was in college. And so like I came home like from college, and my brother had it, but I never really like played it. Like I played a little bit of it, but not much. Now I played 11 a good bit. Like, there was a time of my life where I was really into MMOs. So I was like playing World of Warcraft, and I was playing Guild Wars and City of Heroes and Final Fantasy 11 and all sorts of stuff like that. Like Lineage 2, whatever. But I stopped in college, basically, playing Final Fantasy 11. The play sessions were just too long, and I didn't have enough time to just kind of sit in one place and play 11 for hours like you need to, or you needed to. I hear that it's a lot better, and it's not as much of a grind these days. I felt like the power scale or the power scaling in Final Fantasy X was very balanced up until I left the Omega Ruins. Like, I entered the Omega Ruins and I felt like it had been a steady progression of difficulty the entire game. And by the time I left the Omega Ruins, I was unreasonably powerful and was able to very easily beat the final boss. No challenge whatsoever. You shouldn't have to crouch multiple minutes for that. Like, I remember that feature, the resting feature. Like, it would take at most hardly a minute in order to fully max your HP and magic pool. It's just like if you use up all your health and all your mana, like, how do you expect to get it back? So there's like a resting feature where you take extra damage and you also get more, you take more damage from enemies, and you also gain more aggro more quickly, because they don't want you to rest in the middle of battle when you're on a team. And getting hit by enemies interrupt you from it. So it's more of like this is like a very standard resting mechanic that almost all our MMOs had at the time. Maybe it feels like it takes longer. Usually I would just kind of rest in between every battle while my ranger was off like grabbing the next mob for us to kill. And like, it never was an issue for me. Now, I haven't played a lot of the new games. They probably just like let you restore your health and mana over time, or you just like have moves on cooldown and you don't need to have any sort of mana conservation. And maybe compared to that, it might be worse. Because like, if you're not used to a system where you have to do that, then you might hate it because you have to do it, period. Welcome to the channel, Brandon L. How are you doing tonight? Well, I mean, but like, doesn't that seem like it's not like it's very easy to get broken in that game? Like, you grinded max sphere grid, so like, obviously you're supposed to be really powerful, right? I just realized that you never beat Final Fantasy 13. What's up with that? You didn't like the game? Were there multiple paths to get here? Is that what's going on here? When I finished my playthrough of Final Fantasy X, I was nowhere near max stats. I got to a point where every character had about two paths finished. So for example, Yuna had finished her path and also had finished Lulu's path. Not finished, but like was halfway through Lulu's path. And like Riku had finished her path and was also doing some of Titus's path. Kimari had finished his path, which is very short technically, and was also doing Waka's path as well. Accessibility mostly. I heard that it was terrible. Oh, it's not terrible. I actually really like it. Like, it's just a bunch of people just parroting what they heard online already. But I always struggle with bridge and ladder combos as Meta Knight. Am I really playing Meta Knight? You're probably just playing people that know how to DI. Like, if you find someone that holds in, then maybe you'll hit it. There's probably something in that area as well. I'm honestly surprised that there's nothing behind that rock. I should feel honored. The producers of 13 named their main character after me. Are you familiar with the channel Lightning Fairy? That's her favorite Final Fantasy protagonist. Obviously, because she named herself after the character, so that should be very apparent. She plays Final Fantasy 13 like once a year, I feel like. She's currently playing through Chrono Trigger, which is pretty nice. Oh, okay, so this is not where we're supposed to be going. We'll have to remember to come back to this location later on, because there's a mysterious cave that guy's blocking. Alright, I'm satisfied with my search. There's nothing else for us to do in this area. Chrono Trigger is like a top 2 RPG of all time for me. It alternates between Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. I always say that Chrono Trigger is like the best RPG ever created for people that don't like RPGs. Because you don't have random encounters in that game. And like, it's somewhat turn-based, but there's also like some positioning stuff going on, like depending on where the enemies line up. So you can get a lot out of it that way. And it's very short. It's like, 20 hours when you know what you're doing. I'll probably spend like a good 40 hours in it, just being super slow about it and explaining things along the way when I eventually stream it. But Final Fantasy VI is like, the best RPG ever for people that like RPGs. So you got your random encounters, you have save points as opposed to being able to save anywhere like you're able to do these days. You know, it's pretty old, so you still got the 16-bit graphics, and you got, like, you know, the sound from the time as well. But it's got a great story, great character developments, great side plots and side quests. The best villain to ever do it. Power grinding, that only took me about 35 to 40 hours. Yeah. You might actually be pretty interested in Final Fantasy 13, actually, as a power grinder, because the in-game content is actually still pretty tough even when you are max stats. And then there's an extra grinding component where you have to, like, get materials for your weapons to upgrade them if you want to get even stronger beyond the strongest you can get. And there's like plenty of monsters that are way stronger than the final boss in that game. We've made it to Spear Pillar. They're super bosses? Well, yeah, I'd call them super bosses, I suppose. Did I play many Flash games? I played so many Flash games. Obviously, I don't really remember most of them. But, you know, I kind of grew up during the advent of Flash games. So, like, I played, you know, flashgames.com and newgrounds.com and all sorts of things. My favorite genre of Flash games, or I guess, yeah, mostly Flash games, would be things like tower defense stuff, or like the thing where you basically like manage an army based on, like, you basically click something and then you get a certain amount of something, and then if you click that enough times and you get this upgrade. It's basically like cookie clicker, except it's not cookie clicking, it's like, you know, fighting a war clicker or something like that. Played lots of dating simulations, played lots of mysteries, adventure solving, point and click adventures, played lots of text adventures. Pretty much if it was on the websites, I played it. Why aren't there any AAA tower defense games? Because it doesn't take enough effort to actually make a tower defense game like that. You just need like a good concept and then you just kind of do it. I feel like this could be useful. Played Flat Reserve, and I'm currently underdeveloped in the category of Flash games. technically Flappy Bird was after my time. So like I was already in college, and then Flappy Bird came out, and like Angry Birds and all that other stuff. And so I never played any of those games in particular. But you want to talk about like, you know, dodgy websites that, you know, have all those ads and eventually slow down your computer to a crawl, but you get to play games on it? I was all about that. Even like, besides just those, you would have things like CartoonNetwork.com that would give you like random games to play. Like there was one where you were at summer camp and you were trying to like find all the missing cartoons and whatnot. Or there was one where you had a hexagon grid-based Gundam Wing strategy game where you played rock, paper, scissors, where you had to like sword beats gun, gun beats laser, laser beats sword, or whatever the number was. But basically you would move your units around the map, and then you would basically play rock, paper, scissors in order to fight against the other Gundam, and you would try to take over the base by the time you're done. That's one of my favorites. And there's like stick figure fighting games. They had all sorts of things. Now, all will end, and everything will begin. I'm super edgy. With this red chain, I will pry open the portal to another dimension. I command that you unleash your power for me, Dialga, the mythical Pokemon and master of time. This will bring about the destruction of all things. With everything gone, there will be no fighting and no strife. Can you feel time distorting? Only I can choose to stop it. This cutscene was not in the original games. I'm liking it. This is the mythical Pokemon that created Sinnoh, Dialga, the ancient deity of time. I don't think that red chain is going to hold him. This world cannot be molded into the ultimate world I seek. It's far easier to create an entirely new world than to change this one. A new world in which I am the ruler of all things. I shall become a deity. Well, have fun. You don't think you can just run off now, do you? Okay, I guess I can't just run off now. There's no need to rush. I can understand you want to battle our boss real bad. You have to go through me first. After all, you've made me look bad more times than I can remember. And I'll be next. It might be tough, but this time the gloves are coming off. Hold on 1 second. Don't you start the party without me. Well, if it isn't the little boy who ran off crying at Lake Acuity. You get any tougher since then? We'll beat you 2-on-2. I was like kind of hoping that I would be able to just double battle them myself. Bronzor and Bronzor. You really brought out a Munchlax. Am I the crazy one here? What did I do wrong? Bronzor, Bronzor, and Munchlax. light screen. Oh no. Is it more Palkia's job to control and make stuff? Palkia is the controller of space. And Dialga is the controller of time. And so you need both. So if I were playing Shining Pearl, then he would say, can you, see space, warping or something like that? I don't know what he would say. Alright, they're bringing out the tough ones here. They probably would have sent out both Reflect and Light Screen if we didn't kill the other one with the critical hit that first turn. Really? I only hit my own Munchlax. How awkward. Oh, okay, never mind. Barry looks like Lucas. I mean, they're both blonde. I get what you're saying. Ow. I wonder if my Shell Bell heals off of all of the people that I hit. So I'm gonna do a lot of damage to everyone. If I didn't use berries, this actually would have been a pretty tough climb. Like we used up, like even though we defeated everything in one hit, mostly on the way up, we just like ran out of moves literally on the way up here. Oh, I love a good intimidate. He has Quick Claw? Wow. Just in case he uses Dick again. Oh wow, the Quick Claw coming in clutch there. That special defense drop is not going to work out too well for the Staraptor later on. When I use Surf and knock it out accidentally. I'm definitely knocking it out now. Got 2 gold backs. Yeah, well this is the end of them. The light screen is still up, so it's not going to knock out either of them. Critical hit on the gold bat. Light screen wore off. It's over now. Barry, I'm gonna need you to kind of step up your game. If you're supposed to be my rival. Like, that's spread damage. I'm only doing 3/4 of the damage I normally would be doing. So I would have totally knocked out all of your Pokemon in one hit. Granted, I've been doing that to everyone, but still, you're supposed to be my rival. Should be more like Hop. Alright, first bridge on Elite Smash. Good job. Should have done the fighting myself. Huh. You've toughened up. You're no match for our boss. I'll be the judge of that. Pokemon are tough, right? I can get even tougher. I hope you do get even tougher. That was a very pitiful showing. But you know, that's it for us. We've hit the wall. Well, of course, because I, like, knocked out all your Pokemon. But now I'm healed up. Oh, Dialga. This is... fantastic. Beautiful. It's the creation of a new galaxy, my new world. What? The red thread was created by extracting the essence from Mesprit, Azeleth, and Uxie. And according to the records, those three Pokemon were created by the combination of Palkia and Dialga's power. The red chain, it crumbled away to nothing. But why? Why would Mesprit, the Pokemon of Lake Verity, appear by your side? But never mind that, it's all destroyed. My galaxy's gone. I won't allow this. I'll capture those three again and craft another red chain. Before I can even think about that, I'm gonna completely crush you. Oh, he's looking pretty angry there. Four Pokemon? Alright, that's pretty good. Honchkrow? Alright, we're off to a good start. This might be actually pretty tough. Let's see the levels. 45, that's not too bad. This actually works out perfectly for me, because that way I get to heal by more. You can target an ally with acupressure? Doesn't really have the defense to stay up for very long, I suppose. Also, what a terrible Pokemon. Look at these stats. He's good, got decent speed and decent special defense, and fine defense. Okay at HP. Now that attack, luckily they've got pure power, so like it's not that terrible. He's tough. Earthquake? Okay. It's actually really bad. The power of friendship coming in clutch. May as well use another turn for this. This way I'll heal more than he does damage to me with every turn until he gets a crit. Oh man, the power of friendship yet again. I mean, if you're gonna keep on giving me free turns, I'm gonna keep on using them. Like, he used a full restore on his Haunch Crow. He used a super potion on his Gyarados. I think he's out of healing items, otherwise he would have used one there. This might knock me out here. Ooh, 1 HP. Yeah, that was supposed to knock me out for sure. Yeah, Empoleon toughed it out so I wouldn't be upset. So we definitely cheated a lot for this battle. Take care, Lightning. Good to see you again. I admit that you've pushed me to this extreme, bringing out the Crobat. I think we win. Crobat is... oh, he's knocked out, actually. Never mind. Oh, definitely should have lost that. That's for sure. Good work. You were pretty tough. I won't accept this. The power spoken of in mythology. It didn't just make it obey me, I made it my own. What is truly the ultimate to you? What do you consider perfection? The most important thing, what shines the brightest. Telling you is meaningless, because I'm edgy, but I will not give up. I will become a deity one day, and I will make the ultimate mine. Dialga, the master of time. It's impossible to tell if it's enraged or saddened. But to me, Dialga appears to be waiting for you, Stormy. It seems to be challenging you as a test. Go on, face up to Dialga, listen to his heart, understand his thoughts. Dog is out of control after being dragged out by the red chain and forced to use its power. It seems to be trusting you to stop it. Are you gonna heal me before I do that? I ran into Barry a while ago. He said that he believed in you. He said that you could get the job done. I feel the same way. Please help this Pokemon. It's suffering from being dragged out by Team Galactic. But like, am I healed? I'm not? I mean, I could use some of my berries, I suppose. Why aren't you playing this game with a balanced team? Isn't this much less fun? With a single mon, it seems like you're just pushing buttons to get through the game. For the most part, yeah, I kind of am. Like, the Pokemon has never really been about the story to me. Use your max potion? What if I need that in the future? Can't get more of those. I'll just use some berries. Like, let's see what we got here. We got an Aguav berry. Oh, I can't use it, actually. I can only use citrus berries. There we go. And then some more Leppa berries, maybe? So part of the reason why I don't really use a team, so to speak, is that the Pokemon that I kind of usually like using, you don't get very early on, and so it's kind of weird to kind of swap out Pokemon later on. Another reason is I don't really kind of need to do it at all, because one Pokemon is good enough. Like, I'm mostly using these 3 slots in order to have Pokemon fill up my Pokedex more easily, so that when I get to the end of the game and I do the Pokedex, then that's fine. Another reason is that when you're playing through the main game, you're kind of like messing up your Pokemon. Like, the Pokemon build that I have for all of these is technically really terrible. Like, look at that stat spread, right? I have like all these speed EVs and this, like, I have attack EVs, even though this is I've mostly been using Surf this whole time, and like no special defense. Like, it's just a weird spread. Huh, Toxicroak isn't done yet, apparently. So the blue means that I'm done and I can't actually get any more EVs with these two. And this one's almost done. It'll be done pretty soon. But like, the build sets you use, the EV spreads you use, they're all like completely useless, and I end up remaking the Pokemon at the end of the regular playthrough anyway. And I'll do a stat comparison at some point where I'll show you, like, oh yeah, this is the level 75 Pokemon that I ended the game with, and look, this level 50 Pokemon that I built properly has better stats than it. So I guess because I'm like thinking too far ahead into like when I eventually get into the competitive stuff, it makes me not really care about the team that I come up with during the regular playthrough of the story. It's worth a shot, right? Alright, it was worth a shot. Well, I don't think it would be fun anyway, right? the fun part of Pokemon is, for me at least, when you're doing the story stuff is about the exploration, like finding out where things are, talking to all the different NPCs, seeing what their flavor text is, picking things up off the ground, fighting all the various trainers, and seeing what their battle start and battle end phrases are. Like, even if I had a balanced team, it wouldn't be very interesting, I don't think, to you. Because all I would be doing is I would swap to a Pokemon that has an advantage over the Pokemon that I have in front of me. I would use the super effective move, and then I would knock it out in one hit anyway. And then I would just swap out again. Critical catch would be pretty nice. Nice. No critical catch needed. Legendary mythical Pokemon that creates whole galaxies versus the Pokeball. Why'd you use the regular Pokeball? Because almost everyone else has a regular Pokeball. And it fits in with the rest of the Pokemon. The only one that doesn't have a regular Pokeball that bothers me so much is Toxicroak. I call it that with the Safari Ball because that's where I got him in the Safari Zone. Have a good night, Andazara. Daga's data will be added to the Pokedex. It has the power to control time. It appears in Sinnoh region myths as an ancient deity. To a box. Goodbye, Dialga. I don't know how you were magnificent. Truly, you were incredible. I've lived for 60 years and I've never been thrilled like this. Since the last time, the professor did a lot of research. He became very concerned about you, Stormy Sensei, so he came out to a place as treacherous as this. I'm glad you're safe. Let's go home. Wait, but I want to go back to that cave and see what that grunt was hiding. No one has the right to take away anyone's future, anyone's world. That Pokemon was really extraordinary, wasn't it? Was it really the Pokemon that created the Sinnoh region? That's one of the two. I'm looking forward to seeing your Pokedex. Go places you've never visited before. That way you should encounter Pokemon you haven't seen yet. I'm surprised there's actually nothing to... Oh, there's something back here. The Adamant Orb. But if you are more interested in like what a quote-unquote balanced team could look like, you could look at some of the earlier streams that I did where like, you know, my Prinplup wasn't actually strong enough to actually 1v1 everything and one-shot everything. And I ended up having to swap around a lot in order to like tank hits and exploit the NPC's AI and like use intimidate spam to live a lot of things that I shouldn't have otherwise lived. That might interest you a bit more. But for the most part, I'm always going to try to do the least amount of effort in order to get the win. What am I supposed to do now? Well, I guess I'll go to that cave, and then I'll use this Pokemon to heal off of, I suppose. See, that's fun. It's like this, I suppose. If I put into Smash terms, you kind of want me to do some sort of really elaborate combo that's very fancy and like impressive to look at, but all I want to do is just forward throw someone off the stage and then catch their double jump with a forward air and then just land back on stage and just do it again the next stock. That's kind of the equivalent of what you're asking and what I'm giving you. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. We can start running from the Pokemon again. It turned nighttime while we were in there. But bullying someone off stage is fun. See? In the exact same way that you can find it fun to just like kill someone in 2 hits, I can find it fun to just kill someone in 2 hits. It all comes full circle. I don't want to really use the repel because each Pokemon that I run into has a chance of giving me Pokerus. And that would be super good for me to have that. I could probably just get Pokerus by just like wonder trading, but yeah, if I can get it by myself on my own merits, then that's even better. Alright, what secrets are you hiding in here? Dragon Claw? Okay. Oh. Okay. That's a super shortcut to the base. I see. It's a good thing I explored everything on the way there, so I don't have to worry about like backtracking and getting more things. What an adventure. There's still lots more that we can eventually do. There are a lot of rock climbing locations that we need to finish exploring. We'll probably do that next time, I guess, because we only have like one route to go to. I've already been up here. I can get the effort badge though, or the footprint badge from this place. Well, in that battle just now, when I fought against the Gyarados, where my water attacks were not very effective and their ground attacks were super effective against me, I had to use Charm in order to make sure that they didn't do enough damage to knock me out, though. Like, that is a strategy. And although I did get a couple of lucky turns by avoiding the earthquakes with a shout and then holding on with 1 HP with the power of friendship, like, despite all that, I did employ a good amount of strategy during that battle, including like using Aqua Jet on the Prugly when I knew that it was going to outspeed me, instead of going for Surf next, and things like that. So you can still use more strategies. It's just not as obvious when you're just using one Pokemon. And if I really weren't using any strategy, then I would probably just like super power level my Empoleon so they actually would be able to one-shot everything immediately. Aren't actively trying to strategize. Wait, that's weird. Somehow my Lopunny actually has more friendship than my Empoleon. Is it because I'm not saying the thoughts out loud or something? What's the point of this game? Well, I think of it more of like a standard RPG. Like, you know, there's these worlds and there are these people to talk to, and you have to engage with all the different NPCs. You get to explore the world. You know, you catch all the Pokemon, you can finish the Pokedex, and then once you're done with the game, you build an actual competitive team and you battle against people. And that's where the actual interesting portion of the game comes in. You can actually see some of that in my Pokemon Sword playthrough, as I play through the game using only 2 Pokemon, just my Scorbunny and my Thievul. And you know, throughout the game, I focus more on catching Pokemon for my Pokedex than I do collecting a team or something like that. So I use 2 slots for Pokemon to battle with, and the other slots are for completing the Pokedex. I guess that's really it. I'm a collector. I'm a completionist. So I'm playing through the game in a way that most quickly gets me to finish or to complete the game. And all the like tiny stuff along the way, like, you know, building a team of your favorites, that's not part of the base game to me. That's part of the post game for me. The exploration sucks. What about that time that we like walked underneath the cycling road and then we found that super dark cave, and then we wound our way all the way through it using some like mathematical maze hunting strategy, and then we found that random NPC way in the heart of the cave. I had to bring her all the way out. That was pretty interesting. Just now when we were going through Mount Coronet, there were all these different winding paths and whatnot, and we weren't sure which way we were supposed to go, and we explored all throughout and got all the stuff. That was also pretty interesting. I actually haven't seen a Snorlax yet. That's crazy. I guess this is Mesprit, Aslef, and Uxie, and then 150 would be Palkia. We're pretty good. We're at 98 completion. Alright, we're about to get Mantike. That'll be good. What am I missing here? What's in 131? Azrael. Just in the Pokemon Park there. I'll have to breed a Meryl to get that. Evolve the Hippopotas. Evolve that, evolve that, evolve that. Figure out how to get a Pikachu. Evolve that. Breed that and evolve it. Evolve that. I don't think I can get this. Yeah, that's the version exclusive. For most players, I imagine building the team is the main objective and the Pokedex is post-game. I think that might have something to do with the fact that I know a bit about competitive now. Because growing up, I did actually play with an actual team, and all the Pokemon were the same level, and it was actually important which Pokemon I sent out in battle. But now, the actual game is so easy, and I know that any Pokemon that I play with in the main game is going to be suboptimal by the time I get to the post game, so I'm going to just breed another one that's going to be better. And so like I already have that future goal in my head. Like I've built a team in Showdown of what I want to battle with in this game, and it's very different and not very good at the types of stuff that you do here, right? So, you know, in competitive battling, you can actually build a tanky stall Pokemon, and then that's like a way that you can beat the game, or not beat the game, but you're only playing to beat one battle, and that one battle is the only thing that matters. And that's very different from like beating hordes of weak battles along the way. So like I didn't learn Hydro Pump. It only has 5 power points, which means that I'd only be able to fight 5 Pokemon before having to heal, and that's no good for me. So the objectives are like completely different. The way that you would have a Pokemon team for the story doesn't even like mesh well at all with how I want to build a team these days. No Shachi Beefy Elite 4 with Empoleon. That sounds like a challenge. I probably actually won't, but I have a couple of, I have 3 Pokemon that I'd be using, right? I don't have to beat it with just Empoleon. It would be nice to have a ground resistance or a fighting resistance. Well, actually I do have a fighting resistance, that's my Toxicroak. Oh, there it is. Did not mean to enter that building. Look, exploration. There's a little hidden area over here that you wouldn't normally see. And my reward. Dream Eater. Wasn't that exciting? But there are a million of those little spots. Exactly, that's the point. If it's exciting one time and fun, would you only want to do it once or like a million times? I need to decide what I'll do tomorrow. Because I could go here. I'm probably not going to do that though. Well, I probably will beat the next gym leader in the next stream. But before that, I think I want to kind of explore around a bit. And see if there are any more rock climb locations. I'm sure there are a few. Like, go back to the lakes and see if I'm able to do anything there. Probably not until the post game. How come they don't mention the park here? It's kind of weird. Maybe it's another post-game thing. That's very interesting. So, like, I remember a time I was playing Mario Odyssey, and there was this, like, giant door that I was supposed to walk into, but I noticed that I could kind of hang from the scaffolding around the door, and so I basically, like, parkoured my way on top of this really giant structure for no reason. There was nothing telling me that I should do that. And at the top of it was just like a pile of coins. And coins are kind of useless. Like, you can get them from defeating enemies, you can get them from like playing mini games, but the exploration of the area and being rewarded with, hey, you've like actually paid attention to the geometry of the area, here's some coins, like that was exciting enough, you know? Like, I'm not really exploring so that I can get some sort of objective, right? Like, I'm exploring because exploration is interesting. It's why something like Breath of the Wild is so nice for me. It's like why, you know, just anything where you have multiple paths is interesting. So you're thinking that it's most of the mechanics. You actually like the jumping and the exploring. Yeah, I mean, that's also true. You know, the different ways to move around are good. But they could just do that with standard actual challenges as opposed to, you know, random piles of coins that are just like on the top of a building for no reason. Like, there's plenty of actual obstacles in those games that you can use the fun movement in order to move around. Like, obviously the exploration has to be some part of the enjoyment, and the developers thought as much as well. Otherwise they wouldn't have put those coins up there. It just would have been an invisible ceiling or a visible wall, or maybe just a platform you can stand on that has nothing on it. Or maybe just like a platform that's just too tall for you to actually reach, you know? Hey there, Isomorphic. Welcome to the end of the stream. How are you doing tonight? Pi and I are actually discussing what makes the game fun and why he thinks that my gameplay of Pokemon games are so boring. I don't have anything against exploration. Did you beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond? I'm sure you have already, because like I know that I'm probably going to be the last person in the planet that actually got the game without buying it. Oh, thanks for stopping by. I actually was lurking for a bit in your Elgato stream today. Well, it wasn't an Elgato stream. You played mostly Aegislash, but and maybe one of these days you'll actually get around to playing those supports. Thanks for stopping by. Now that I have you, well, I mean, you've been here before, but I need to not be lazy and set up my bot to auto-plug your channel. I beat the Elite Four, but I stopped after that, didn't do any of the guided content. So you haven't gotten any of the legendary Pokemon? There's so many of them. There's so much stuff in this game after that. Like, you didn't do any of this stuff. You didn't do this thing over here. You didn't do this thing over here. And there's like a lot more to the game after the Elite Four. That makes sense. More games to play. Maybe when I finish the game, we can do some competitive Pokemon battling. Like, you know, the first couple of streams after I beat the Elite Four, I'll split it between doing the post-game stuff and building my first competitive team. And I'll teach you how to do it. And then we can do it, and then we can have some battles. And then you can get more of that strategy that I'm talking about. Or we could just, like, I don't know, play on Showdown. And that way you just kind of skip right to it. But that kind of takes away the fun of having done something yourself, you know? Never touch the underground? Man. That's where you get all the rare National Dex Pokemon. But yeah, there's a lot to this game. Like, it's crazy that that you're like, hey, don't you think it would be more fun if you had like a team, but also I didn't do any of the underground because I just went straight through the story and I found it boring and bland. And it's like, yo, you didn't do any of the stuff that makes the game interesting. Alright, so I think that we're going to call it for tonight. Tomorrow we're going to play some more Brilliant Diamond, I believe. Pretty sure. Depends on work. Tuesday, Smash After Work. Wednesday, Brilliant Diamond. Next weekend, we'll probably be playing lots of Unite. Unite on Saturday and Friday. Next Saturday might be one of those, like, I grind for 6 hours on stream with you type of sessions. We'll see. But for tonight, maybe we'll see if we've got a person for us to raid. Probably not, because no one plays this game anymore. Oh yeah, when I say competitive Pokemon, I do mean VGC 2v2. You know, choose 6, bring 4 double battles, but I'm also willing to play some, you know, 6v6 singles with you all as well. Wow, we are up late. There are only 3 people that are streaming right now. And none of them are playing Brilliant Diamond, so I guess we'll call it for now. I guess that means I have to make 3 teams. 1 meme, 1 singles, 1 doubles. I kind of also want to make a legendary team, like an Uber's team as well. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. If you enjoyed today's stream, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Take care, and goodbye.